Phyllis couldn't believe that she had a horse out of her mother's mare Tempo. Union Rags spent a lot of time at Point Lookout, Mrs. Wyeth's farm, and eventually her accountant came to her and said, Phyllis, you need to sell this horse because your problem is it's looking like you're running a hobby and not a business.
I always wanted to keep him. He was the sweetest, nicest, calmest of all of them, but, you know, you got to listen to our government telling you we're going to be a hobby.
She had to sell the horse she'd really been waiting her whole life for. This is the last horse from my mother's mare Tempo, is what she said, and she said, why am I doing this?
We all just loved that horse. Never had such affection for a horse on this place.
At the Saratoga yearling sales of 2010, she ended up selling the horse for $145,000. The moment she sold the horse, she started having seller's remorse. From that moment, she started thinking about how can I buy this horse back.
She was determined, you know, she had this dream, and I mean, it sounds like malarkey, but it's absolutely true. And she just said that, you know, I feel this is my family's breeding. I just feel that I have to get this colt back.
Having to sell it, I just about cried when it was sold.
She went to her close friend and advisor, Russell Jones, said, Russell, find this horse, buy him back.
My love was always the horse business and riding and races and breeding horses. And Phyllis and I were sitting at dinner one night, and she said, I think you ought to come and talk to the family about what a role you could play with them. And we've just had a great time ever since. Hardly a day goes by that one of us doesn't call the other one just to be sure that there's no news that one of us has heard that the other one hadn't caught up in yet, so we keep each other pretty well posted.
I wouldn't have Tempo, and I wouldn't have Union Rags here today if it wasn't for Russell. I couldn't live without him. He's here all the time. He's always been helping me through everything.
Well, in February of 2011, at a Florida 2-year-old in training sale, Union Rags was for sale again.
Russell called me, he said, you know, the Dixie Union colt you sold is in the sales. I said, Russell, go get him. Get him. Don't you want to come look at him? Do I need to come look at him? Get him.
He was really an impressive horse, and he worked impressively. And Phyllis said, well, I want to buy him back then. And I said, well,
I was going to buy him back anyway.
You're not going to, you're going to have to pay more than you sold him for. And she said, well, how much more? And I said, well, it won't be under $350, and it could be as much as $400. And she said, well, I want you to go to $390.
Just get him. I'll borrow from the bank or whatever. I've never been like that, ever in my life.
This is Union Rags, a bay colt by Dixie Union.
Oh boy, and he beautiful. What do you give here? 300, 303, 200 where? 202, 75, 100, and now 3, 275 and a 3, 275 and a 3, 395, 370, 70, 80, 90, 380, 390, 380, 390, 390, I'm going to give all 394 and 390,000 in the back. Thank you and good luck.
The amazing thing was somebody else bid $385, we bid the $390, end of story. It was like it was supposed to be, and she picked that number out of there and said, go to that number, and it meant to me this horse was supposed to come home. It was supposed to come home.
She got her horse back. She sold him for $145, bought him back for $390. This isn't about money, this is really a love story. I love this horse, I want this horse back. So she spent double the money to get him back and got the horse that she'd always dreamed about her whole life, never knowing that this was gonna happen. It'd be the best horse she ever had. But something just kept making her say, I gotta go get this one. She couldn't get the horse out of her mind. And it couldn't be anything else but a woman in love with a racehorse. A couple of months later, she sent him to trainer Michael Matz, who of course trained Barbaro in 2006 to his great Derby victory.
Phyllis said right away, I want the horse to go to Michael Matz, and that's what happened.
My name is Michael Matz, and I'm the trainer here at Vintage Farm, and Union Rags is under our care at this moment. I've known Phyllis probably now for, quite a few years, and I've had other horses for, and but none as good as this one.
Michael immediately was taken with this 2-year-old, said this might be a really, really good one. He knew in May this one had a chance.
He's big, he's good looking, he's athletic, he's balanced. This would be the great prototype for a great racehorse.
My name is Peter Brett and I'm assistant trainer to Michael Matz, and I have the pleasure of riding Union Rags every day. He's a beautiful horse to ride, very, very straightforward. If all horses were like him, my job would be so much easier. You know, he's what you see is what you get. He's very big, very handsome. He has everything. He's a very talented horse. He's got an extremely good mind. He has all the attributes you want in a good racehorse. He's got all the attributes you want in a good athlete. He's a very, very good athlete.
My name's Stephanie Ball and I'm an exercise rider for Michael Matz. We come in the mornings and we look at the set list and we decide what tack to put on each horse, and then we go set your tack by your horse, and then the grooms get them ready, and then when we pull them out and we go get on them, and Michael tells us what he would like us to do. Yeah, Union Rags, he's a real happy horse. He loves being out of his stall. He's always, you know, got a smile on his face. Mrs. White's a lovely lady. She always comes into the barn, is very happy and pleasant to everybody, and you know, she really seems to enjoy her horse.
Phyllis's relationship with Union Rags is pretty special. You know, every time she comes to the barn, he obviously knows who she is. He goes up to her. He's very, very confident, and he's very quiet around her.
Down at the Florida, at the Fountain of Youth, and he came walking in the paddock, and she was right there, and he went up to her and just sort of sniffed at her, and he knew who she was.
I think it's been quite an emotional experience for her, you know, to have such a nice horse.
I think she just has a special affection for this horse that goes further than I'll ever know.